Hello, Watem here and welcome back to some more Higurashi When They Cry. Well, they resolved part of it issue last time. Just hope that Rena can still be saved. Also I think I said in a previous part that I think it was I thought Shion hadn't heard of the footsteps thing happening before, but no, she had heard from Rena the abandoned bus stop, I think it was. But yeah, she'd heard it from Rena before Satoshi even disappeared. The one thing which I'm left wondering about is if Keiichi has heard of the footsteps before. I can't remember that. I do remember the whole marketplace scene where there was an extra set of footsteps. So I am wondering if that's part of the delusion. Before I went to bed, I headed to my window to close the curtain. I saw the shadow of a person near the porch. Who could it be so late? But I didn't have to guess who it was. There was only one person I knew who might come to see me so late. I opened the window and looked more carefully this time. I was right. It was Rena. She was just standing still under the light. I wondered how long she'd been there for. Didn't look like she was going to ring the doorbell. She was just standing there. She seemed to be asking herself whether to ring the doorbell or not. Or how long had she been hesitating in front of my door? It looked like even standing was giving her a hard time. She looked very tired. I ran down the stairs, put my sandals on, and rushed out of the house. I also wonder why Rena listened in on the phone call with Oishi. In the first chapter. Rena looked surprised to see me, even though I came out after making a lot of noise.
Rena! Rena!
She looked relieved to see me for a moment, but then she seemed to glance downward and looked sad again.
お前、いつからここに突っ立ってたんだよ。
わかんない。夕方、ちょっと過ぎくらいからだったと思う。
Rena must have been staying somewhere outside for the last 2 days at the very least. And it wasn't like she'd been camping for fun. She'd been in a state of high tension the whole time, believing that someone was trying to kill her. Rena looked utterly exhausted. She seemed to have taken care of a deep scratch she made on the neck the other day with some large band-aids. The band-aids had cute pictures, but that only made the wound on her neck look more painful. I saw some band-aids soaked with blood on her arms and body too, and I could tell she made them herself. She had more scars than she had last night.
とにかく、中に入ろう。この2日間、ろくなものを食べてないんだろ。
When I tried to take her in the house, she refused with a vague expression on her face. It wasn't that she didn't want to go into the house. It was more like she had to refuse because she thought she didn't deserve it.
もうね、ダメなの。今のこの瞬間も、私の全身の中で変なのがざわざわ騒いで、かゆくて、かゆくて、溢れ出しそうなの。
なあ、レナ。多分それは何かの病気なんだ。
Mental count?
とりあえず、今夜は俺の家で休んで、明日の朝一番で監督の診療所へ行ってみないか。
Paranoia and all that.
監督なら、レナの微妙な立場を分かってくれるから、誰にも内緒で診察してくれるよ。
もう自分でもわかるんだよ。富武さんがどういう最後を遂げたか、今ははっきりとわかるの。私は 必死にそれを我慢しているだけ。
Rena believed she was given some kind of suspicious drug that made her claw at her neck to death just like Tomitake-san did. She had convinced herself that it was going to happen. She wouldn't hear anything else right now. Yeah, there is also... no, I think I've covered before how it's possible that she saw the whole Maggot's talisman thing. But she really wanted somebody to help her. She wanted help, but when someone tried to give her a hand, it looked like the hand of the devil. If this was some kind of disease, what a horribly depressing disease it was.
私ね、どういう最後になるかわからないけど、多分、もうそんなに長くないと思うの。
そんなことねえさ。無敵の部活メンバーリュウグウレナがそんな程度でくたばるかよ。
ありがとう。それでね、死んじゃう前に圭一君にどうしても謝りたかったの。
謝る？何をだよ。
私昨日すごくいけないことを言って圭一君を傷つけた。
She must be talking about last night. She trusted me, but when Noishi-san told her about my past, she felt betrayed. And after that, everything I did out of goodwill seemed like the opposite to her. I know what it's like. I once felt the same way about you, Rena.
私もね、昔引っ越してくる前、とても悪いことをしていた。いっぱい。
そうか。そうなんだ。
You do.
圭一君みたいにおもちゃの鉄砲で撃つのなんかと比べ物にならないよ。金属バットで頭が割れちゃうくらいに殴った。みんな大怪我だった。他にもね、学校のガラスとかいっぱい割って歩いたり、それからね。
I know. But I don't care about any of that. You did that before you moved here. That's why you stopped being Reina, Ryugu, and became Rena after you moved here, right? To me, you're my best friend who's very kind, thoughtful, and fun. That's the most important thing. I don't care who you were before.
ね、私ももっともっといっぱい悪い。圭一君のこと仲間じゃないなんていう資格。
それは俺もなんだ。俺も最初レナの過去のことを聞いて恐れた。
そっか、知ってたんだ。
Rena laughed sadly. She seemed shocked to find out that I knew about her history when she thought I didn't.
でもだからなんだよって思ったぜ。引っ越してくる前にレナがどんな大悪党だとしたって、それでレナはいろいろと泣いたり笑ったりしながら人生を積み重ねてきて、それでひなみ沢に引っ越してきて誰にも恥じなくていい生活をしてるじゃねえかよ。前の町で悪いことがあったとしたってレナはそれを悔いているならどうでもいいことだったんだよ。その結果リュウグウレナってやつが尊敬できる人間に成長できたならどうでもいいことだったんだよ。
I should have noticed it earlier. Rena is Rena. That's why she's Rena Ryugu. I couldn't understand that simple thing when she said she wasn't Reina.
レナも聞いたろ。俺も悪いやつだった。バカだったんだ。なんてバカなことをしたんだと後悔した。だから引っ越しは人生をもう一度やり直すいい機会だと思ったんだ。だから俺はひなみ沢では自分で自分が好きになれる前原圭一だったと思ってる。それはレナもなんだろ。茨城でどういう生活だったかなんて関係ない。ひなみ沢にいるリュウグウレナが大事なんだ。だからリュウグウレイナが何者だろうと俺には全然関係ないことだったんだ。
そうだよね。そうだよね。
新しい自分をやり直せる機会は 何回あったっていいんだ。
Oh, just how terrible that is, considering that's literally what Rika's doing.
そんな機会があるから、俺たちは何回も失敗しながら、傷つきながら、もっと大好きになれる自分を探してさまよえるんじゃないかよ。人生に一度や二度のつまずきなんてつきものなんだ。だからそんなのにへこたれないで、俺たちはどんどん成長していかなくちゃいけないんだ。だから、そんなたくましい人の膝に残るかさぶたを見ておぞましく思うなんて、最低のことだったんだよ。
Doesn't matter how many times you fall. When you go through a lot of pain, you can be kinder to others. So I don't need to know your past, and even if I knew, it shouldn't have changed the way I treated you. But we were fools. We couldn't understand that until we went through things like this ourselves. Mion knew that from the beginning. We were such fools. We hurt each other. We made each other cry.
だから、竜宮レナは、これまでも今も、そしてこれからも、いつレナが辛い時、きっと俺が助けるから、俺を信じてくれ。
ありがとう。ケイチ君を信じるよ。
It's very tragic, but what she said isn't true. She probably didn't mean to lie, but I knew she didn't trust me from the bottom of her heart. My words didn't reach her. I knew that because Rena kept telling me to trust her that time. She kept saying those words, while I kept hitting her with the bat. But they still didn't reach me.
私ね、もう多分長くない命だと思うけど、こんな素敵なケイチ君がいるひなみ沢を救うために頑張るよ。
No, Rena.
奴らなんかにこの村を乗っ取らせない。みんなで楽しく過ごしていた日々を取り戻すために私は戦うよ。奴らの陰謀を必ずやっつけてみせるから。
She said that she trusted me, that she didn't understand anything I was saying. Even if I kept telling her that the conspiracy was Takano-san's delusion, it wouldn't reach her.
ありがとう、ケイチ君。レナを許してくれて。
I do. I forgive you. So please forgive me for what I did to you.
きっとひなみ沢を救う。だからケイチ君、力を貸して。ケイチ君だけは信じられる。ケイチ君となら救えると思ってる。
レナ
I knew how bad of a corner Rena was driven into. If I was her, I'd be walking around with a baseball bat, thinking every single person around me was my enemy. Rena cared about me so much, but I only saw her as my worst enemy. But Rena, you still trust me, even when you're driven into this bad of a corner. I couldn't understand what you were saying. I beat you to death while you kept telling me to trust you. But you're different. You still trust me? You are so.
どうして泣いてるの？
許してくれ。許してくれ。俺は、もう絶対にレナを裏切らないから。レナのことを信じるから。だから、許してくれ。
何のことを言ってるのかよくわかんない。ケイチ君はいつもレナのことを信じてくれてるよ。だからレナもケイチ君のことを信じてる。信じていいんだよね。ケイチ君だけはレナを信じてくれるんだよね。
Tears fell from my eyes. I sobbed and nodded again and again to answer her. Tears welled up in Rena's eyes too. Before I knew it, we were putting our foreheads together with tears in our eyes.
あのね、私ね、この戦いを終わらせる方法を見つけたの。
本当か？
うん。 勝ち目のほとんどない方法だけど、私にできる一番の抵抗だと思う。
レナ、それがどんな方法かは知らないけど、それが終わった後、俺たちはみんなでまた楽しかった元の日々に戻れるんだよな。戻れるんだよな。そうじゃなくちゃ嫌だ。俺はお前をこの場から行かせない。
大丈夫だよ、ケイチ君。元の幸せな日々に戻るための起死回生、逆転の最後の一手なんだから。
Aww. I don't know what she had on her mind. It began with a delusion, and it'd end with a delusion. If I encouraged her too much, she twisted into an attack on her. I was like that at that time. I took Rena's goodwill as the complete opposite thing. So, I stopped denying her story. This was Rena's battle. It was her lonely battle. She had to fight against her own delusion. The more we tried to help her, the more we drove her into a corner. But I would always be there for her. Whenever she needed help, she could reach me. I wanted to let her know that, so I said just one thing.
俺は最後の瞬間までレナの味方だからな。絶対にレナの味方だからな。
Even if you're not. Even if I told her to trust me, I knew she couldn't right now. I knew that, but I told her those words anyway. Even if she couldn't believe them, and if she tried to smash my head in, I'd say those words. I'd keep saying them until I die.
ありがとう、ケイチ君。明日でね、きっと全部終わるの。きっと私たちは勝つよ。そしたら、またみんなで楽しく部活をしよう。みんなで。私たちが一番楽しかった時を取り戻そう。
Although she wished to regain our happy times so badly, I couldn't get rid of the darkness that controlled her mind.
じゃあ、私はこれで行くね。明日の準備があるから。
To tell the truth, I didn't want to let her go. I wanted to stop her even if I had to grab her arm. But I couldn't stop her like that. If I grabbed her arm, she wouldn't trust me anymore.
待てよ、レナ。明日の準備って。
内緒。ケイチ君に協力してもらうこともあるかもしれないけど、その時はレナを助けてね。
ああ、当然だぜ。
I nodded strongly, so she could tell that I was still on her side. But I didn't know what her come-from-behind victory meant at this point. The first thing I could think of was that she was going to invade the house of the Sonzaki family, which she thought was her enemy. So I called Mion to warn her after Rena left. Mion laughed bitterly and said, "Why does everybody want us to be the bad guys so much?" But she understood the situation.
いっそ悪役に徹しさせてもらってもいいよ。
Even Shion.
レナが妙なことをしでかす前に踏んじばって病院に担ぎ込むのもいいかもしれない。
本当に最後の最後まで行ったらそれも仕方ないかもな。でもレナを信じたいんだ。最後のギリギリまで。あいつはこんなに心が追い詰められても俺をまだ信じるだけの心の強さがあるんだ。俺とは違う。だからきっとレナは妄想に打ち勝てるはずなんだ。
最近ケイちゃんとリカちゃんが何を言ってるのかおじさんちょっと分かりかねるんだよな。なんか最近ヘビーなことでもあったわけ？
You can say it happened lately, in a way. I killed Mion a couple of days after the festival.
悪いな。意味のわかんない話ばっかりしちゃって。それよりレナのこと見損なったりしないでくれ。な。
そんなわけないよ。誰だってたまには心が風邪をひく時があるって。レナのこれもその程度のこと。まあちょいと熱は高いみたいだけど、すっき きりケロッと治ってすぐに笑い話になっちゃうって。
I hope so,
ケイちゃんが思ってるほど事態は悪くなってないよ。
but I doubt it. And they still need to prevent Rika's death. Oh, is she going to try to kill Rika, who she sees as the alien?
大石の大バカ野郎は自分の誤解を認めた。例の件は発生自体にも気づいてない。だからこのままレナの空騒ぎでしたってことで決着できる。
そうなのか？空騒ぎで決着できそうなのか？
そういうことで決着させんのが園崎本家次期当主のミヨン様の手腕じゃないの。某料亭でね、大石とおじさんが1対1で対談してちゃんと誤解を解いてきたわけよ。大石はタジタジ。いやー、おじさんもなかなかやるね。
Mion bragged about her achievement, laughing loudly. I could tell she was exaggerating a little. Anyway, compared to the sense of impending doom Rena seems to be feeling, the others seem to be taking it rather easy. It was all up to Rena now. If she understood everything, she could go back to the peaceful world she wished for. We were waiting for her to reach out to us, just like we did by the abandoned car at the garbage dump that day. Rena, I couldn't win, but I know you can, because you're the one who told me to have faith until the end. So I know you can win. That didn't mean that she could literally win the last battle she was talking about to you earlier, but Rena would win. She'd win, and she'd regain her peaceful life. So we stare off into the moon, wondering what the next day will bring. Last night, as in the night like which has just happened, or as in it's the last night? She's just sick right now. That does sound like Satoko though.
ああ、私たちの命日。
We?
今回も同じ顛末なのです。そうかしら。よく似てるけど、いろいろと違うところもあったわ。ケイチ、前のことを覚えてたし。そんなことはありえないのです。覚えているわけ、いや、知っているわけはないのです。
Although that is a bit different from Satoko actually. So, I'm guessing that's Oyashiro or someone connected to Rika? Especially since Satoko didn't know in class that this person does.
あんたが絶対にありえないと言ってくれればくれるほど。じゃあこれは本当に奇跡なんだって思えるわね。どうせ今回もおしまいです。おしまいかしら。もうすぐ終わる。全部終わる。そう。日暮らしの泣く頃に。
Was it all going to end anyway? The more often you throw a die, the closer the total will get to the average. When you throw a die 100 times, even if a miracle happens and you get 6 twice or 3 times in a row, the total will average out in the end. That's a fact of statistics. When you throw a die 100 times, the total number ranges from 100 to 600. The more you throw, the greater the likelihood that the number will converge on the average. But the truth is, the more you throw, the more possible outcomes you create. Yeah, it's also like the law of large numbers. There are 500 different futures you can create by throwing a die 100 times. There are 5,000 different futures you can create by throwing a die 1,000 times. There might be one future among them that enables you to actually finish this never-ending game of dice. Keiichi showed me a miracle, and it taught me that it's not a wasted effort to keep throwing the die. Don't give in to something like an average.
ひらつく背中を見せるわね。どうせ今回もダメだろうって、そういう哀愁でいっぱいよ。私だってどうせダメだろうと思ってる。でもね、最後のサイコロを投げるまで私は諦めない。圭一が教えてくれた。今回は何かが違うの。だからそれを信じてみる。
リカは本当に強いのです。
まあね。あんたよりはずっと若いし。
リカ？みー、こんな時間に起きてて、夜更かしはダメでございましてよ。ごめんなさいなのです。寝苦しかったので星を見ていただけなのですよ。もう寝ますです。そうなさいませ。おやすみ、リカ。おやすみなのです、さとこ。
So I did actually hit the nail on the lid. Is that the expression? For saying that by last night it meant it's the last night. Except before Rika dies, it's being specific. Walking with only me onto school made me miss Renner a lot.
どうしたのさ、ケイちゃん。さっきからキョロキョロしてさ。
なんでもないよ。
It was the same old path to school, but I felt nervous for some reason. I wonder what Renner meant when she said she was going to win a come-from-behind victory last night. I couldn't stop feeling like something dangerous was going to happen. Renner thought Neon was one of her enemies. She could be lying in wait to attack Neon with a knife.
大丈夫だって。レナがそんな短絡的なことをするわけないよ。まあ仮にそうでも自分の身くらい守れるからね。
Neon said it brightly, as if trying to tell me she wasn't afraid of anything. But I couldn't be optimistic like her, because I knew exactly what Renner was going through. Renner must be determined right now, and she probably wouldn't mind dying fighting against Neon if she wasn't going to win anyway. Of course, that didn't mean she was definitely going to take violent action, but I couldn't deny the possibility either.
それよりおじさんが気にかかるのは、どうしてレナが急に変になっちゃったのか、その理由の方だね。
Was there any reason? I remembered the tragedy. I couldn't remember what made the world go crazy. But I remembered we got lost in that awfully scary world. It started with small things, and those small things continued to pile up one after another. If you thought about it calmly, you'd laugh, because it was really a stupid thing. But once those little tiny stupid things started to bother you, you couldn't ignore them. It was that kind of disease, if you could call it one. But there must have been a reason. There must have been a reason that made the world go crazy. But it must be such a small thing that you couldn't even notice. And unfortunately, the reason was very difficult to understand, and you wouldn't be able to figure it out until you died.
親戚にお医者がいてね、ちょっと聞いてみたんだけど、脳とかに腫瘍ができて、たまたまそれが珍しいところだったりすると、性格が急に変わったり、普段と別人みたいになってしまうことがあったりするんだって。大昔はこの病気が悪魔つきや狐つきなんて呼ばれて、オカルト的に脚色されてたこともあるんだってさ。
ってことはつまり脳という体の一部に起きた肉体的な病気ってわけか。
今回に関しては精神的と捉えてもいいかもしれないね。レナはリナ鉄平殺しの後かなり動揺していて、心が不安定になってた時期があった。 そんな時期に大石のバカタレが富武さんたちの事件を大げさに吹き込むもんだから。
大石さんって人もさ、高野さんのスクラップ帳に少し似てるとこがあるかもな。
へえ、どの辺が？
なんていうのかな、ひなみ沢村連続開始事件というものが存在しているというあたりについて盲信しているというか。
Is it?
現に5年連続で起こってるのにこんなことを言うのもなんだけど、俺さ、もともと連続事件なんて存在しないんじゃないかって思ってる。
It was true that incidents happened 5 years in a row. But they were each solved individually. It was the same as a past you didn't need to talk about. We thought of them as a series of mysterious deaths, which is why we thought something was going to happen this year too. It could just be that Faith rolled a natural 1 on the D20 many times in a row. It led us to think that there was a conspiracy, and that the Sonozaki family was behind it. We connect those things to a series of mysterious deaths, but we shouldn't do that in the first place. Just like I tried to keep my distance from Reno when we found out about her dark past. Wasn't everybody trying to keep their distance from the dark past of Hinamizawa? Takano-san's scrapbooks are a good example. She dramatized both the recent incidents and old cruel history. And she made feasible stories out of them, saying that the Sonozaki family was behind it all. Oi-san did the same thing as well, too. He was so convinced that the Sonozaki family was behind it all that it was making him interpret things the wrong way. In that sense, we could say Oi-san believed in the same delusion as Reno.
その辺にはさ、何かあるごとに黒幕のように振る舞う園崎家の責任もあるんじゃねえのかな。この村では何かおかしなことがあれば全て園崎家の暗躍、それで決着をつけられてしまう魔法の言葉になっちゃってるんだよ。例えて言えばほら、この世の現象は全てプラズマで説明できるみたいな感じだよ。
ほー、つまりそれは何を、園崎家が全部悪いってわけ？
そうだ、お前が全部悪い。
Though the incident which this solves isn't directly related to the series of murders. Each time those never get directly solved.
よってお前の名前は今日からプラズマミオンと呼ぶ。うわ、なんだかレスラーみたいな名前だな。
はあはあ、プロレスラー大いに結構。そうだ、ケイちゃん、コブラツイストって知ってる？
I'd guess stretching your abdominal muscles, maybe? Or
いやいやいや、やめろ。このクソ熱いのに絡みつくな。いててて。やー。
おはようございますですわ、ケイチさん。おはようなのです。
Sadako and Rika-chan looked a little sad when they saw only the two of us. If the three of us came to school together like always, they would have been really happy. But our classmates were as noisy as usual. Nobody seemed to make a big deal about Rena's absence. Chie-sensei was going to be here soon, and she'd start morning homeroom. Everyone was fooling around as if they didn't want to miss a second of the time until then.
ねえ、今日は臭い。窓閉めて。
I've got a bad feeling?
バーカ、窓を閉めたらもっと暑くなるんだよ。
Two thoughts. One, dead body of something, possibly Reno. Two, the eruption thingy that happened in the third chapter. It smelled like gasoline or something, and it really stank. Except that one had happened during the night. Someone from the forestry service must have been putting gasoline in the construction equipment or something. Some students near the windows were making a fuss because they wanted to close the windows to shut out the smell. Our school wasn't a normal school compared to others. We were using a part of the forestry service building. unusual things like this happen sometimes. And I was going to stop once we arrived at the school. Whoops. I'll end it here for now. I hope you all enjoyed. Let me know any feedback you have in the comments. And until next time, see ya.